What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Nog, and we are here, of course, with the President of the United States of Mar-a-Lago, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, how are you today?
I'm not so good, and I'll tell you why. They have that Zoom lady every time we start record. Well, you're new to the show, but every time we
Hmm.
start recording, this Zoom lady, probably Chinese, gets on and says it's being recorded, and I don't like it. It's sort of very unnerving.
Yeah, it is a change. It's definitely weird, but we'll get used to it, I think, Mr. President.
No, I like things the way they were in the past. I don't like to, What are you going to introduce? Critical Zoom theory now? Is a radical? Send me another radical left tech stuff.
No, no, no critical Zoom theory, but how was your Father's Day, Mr. President?
Uh, I've had better, to be honest. I've had better, but it was, I'd say top 15.
Top 15 Father's Days? Okay. You did come out with a statement on Father's Day. Do you remember this statement you came out with?
No, of course. Excuse me. Very strong statement because I didn't, Sleepy Joe. What's he gonna? He's gonna sleep through. It's Sunday, so he's gonna have a glass of warm milk and watch our country go down the drain and take a 20-hour nap. So I thought we needed a real president to speak to our country. And I call it, by the way, Father's Day Part Two. You call it Father's Day. I call it Father's Day Part Two.
Why do you call it Father's Day Part 2?
Gerard Day Part Two. I call it Father's Day Part Two because Mother's Day, and I told this to Melatonin, you know, before I gave her the Trump sauce, she was just a beautiful nothing. She's just a lady. And there's no Happy Ladies Day, right? They try to do a stupid Women's History Month, but nobody celebrates that. But
Okay.
there's no happy. Oh, here's your Hallmark card for Lady Day. They don't have that. Oh, Escort Week. No, they don't celebrate these things. So I said once I gave her the Trump Joy Juice, I said I've just given you a new holiday. I just get you were not allowed to be part of this holiday, and then I gave you the billionaire yogurt, and now all of a sudden people say Happy Mother's Day. They give you cards and flowers, and so every Mother's Day I call it Father's Day Part One, and Melatonin comes in dressed in lingerie and heels and says, "Thank you, Donald, for giving me this day." And then she services me as per our prenup,
Hmm.
and I say, "Okay, go now. You can go enjoy Mother's Day with whoever you want to enjoy it with," and we call that Father's Day Part One because there's no Mother's Day without me for many of these women.
I understand that, but rumors are is that you don't change diapers. You've told us that you don't raise your children until they're older. So isn't she doing all the work? Shouldn't she have?
Oh yeah. Tech stuff guy. Melatonin's doing all the work, right? Not a team of Guatemalan Mexicans. No. Melatonin's doing the work. Very good joke. Tech stuff. You're probably the funniest tech stuff guy we've had.
What did you do? Did you do on Father's Day, Part 2?
Thank you. Thank you for respecting the full title. Now, well, I woke up and I say, as a strong Christian who's never been to church, I say a powerful prayer for Fred Trump, the great Fred Trump, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I say, thank you, the great Fred Trump, for having me and for, giving me, not a lot of money and not a lot of opportunities, but for giving me the start to my great career. Then I go downstairs and Ivanka and Melatonin dress in matching French maid outfits. And because that's sort of the theme, we go with kind of a theme.
Okay.
Because it's funny because they're French made, so they look sexy, but they're also weak because they're French. So, I sort of sit very strongly and order them around. They bring me McDonald's breakfast. And then we go and we watch the news and they fan me. And other kids try to send me texts and I block them. Don Jr. I saw the next day he sent me like 40 messages and I blocked them all. He was like, hey Dad, hey Father, happy Father's Day, and then he did coke, and then like by the 30th message he was saying, I need some money. My dealer is bothering me on Father's Day, and I ignored them all. So hopefully he's dead.
Any good gifts for Father's Day?
They gave me, when you're so rich, you don't know this, but when you're worth billions of dollars, there's no like gift somebody can give you. So more creative stuff. I know everybody thinks the left has all the artsy people. Oh, we have all the people that like penis, so we make great art. And and by the way, you don't. We have big gay Mike Pence, by the way. And so what they did was it was a nice, beautiful, full body nude ice sculpture of Ivanka with and because it's ice with the hard nipples and the Diet Coke comes out of the nipples, and I almost didn't like it because it almost made her breasts look African American first, with the Coke filling.
I understand.
And then I found it actually very sort of erotic. I was like, wow, imagine if Ivanka were sort of like a Meghan Markle. I assume Meghan Markle has like sort of lighter skin, but then dark breasts. I've never been with
An African American?
A half and half. What are they like what do you like a half and half?
Milano?
Bordello? Are we naming Pepperidge Farm cookies?
No, that's the term. Term used for someone who has one black parent and one white parent.
Oh, you mean mulatto?
Yes. What did I say?
It sounded like you said Milano, like Alyssa Milano.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I have no sleep, but
that's okay. I was busy. For Father's Day, we all go to Roger Stone's house for dinner, if you know what I mean. So I'm not working on too much sleep either.
Are you more in love with the possibility of your wife? Maybe you get surgery where they are fake breasts in there. Is there a way for those breasts to dispense Diet Coke out of them?
I think that's actually a great question. Can you imagine? You're just making strong love to mesothelioma, and then you just put your mouth to the surgically perfected nipple, and all of a sudden, delicious, bubbly Diet Coke comes out. That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Well, no, I thought of it. I'm just saying my idea is very strong.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, I know you are not allowed to be on Facebook for the next 2 years, but your campaign already started fundraising on Facebook. So that's not against the rules. So I see you found a little loophole there. Already fundraising for a billionaire. A billionaire fundraising?
It's pronounced billionaire, and Facebook is going to learn the hard way that you can tell Trump no, but I usually treat no as an opening offer. So they say, you can't be on here, sir. And I say, open up your legs, Facebook. I'm about to fundraise right in your ass.
And that's what you're doing? You're fundraising right in their ass.
Right in there. Mike, relax, Mike. Mike Pence, he heard ass and he came running. He always likes to pretend he's like, oh, I don't like that foul language, sir. But he always manages to show up when he hears the word ass.
Do candidates start fundraising this early? Or are you doing this extra early?
Look, I don't really care what other failed, pathetic, stupid, loser, traditional candidates do. As a two-term president and the greatest leader I think the country's ever had. I do things my way. People should be following my model. I set the path. Okay. I determine where we go. If I followed everybody else, I'd be like Crooked Hillary and I would have lost the presidency 19 times.
Now, lots of books are being written about you. I know you have not gone to write a book yet. I'm sure it'll be an enormous book deal once you do write another book. But in this book, that is a compilation of interviews with different people who have worked under you. And in the book, it talks about Jared Kushner and how, well, a couple of things in the book. One, there's a rumor that when COVID started to break out, you wanted to quarantine people at Guantanamo Bay. That's one thing. And the next is since there was so much COVID testing and Jared Kushner was pushing for so much COVID testing, you called Jared Kushner an idiot. Are these both true things from the book?
Yes, very true.
Okay.
No, I don't know. The people are wait. You know what the fake news does? Tech stuff. What the fake news does is, if I say 2 + 2 is 4,
mm-hmm.
the fake news will make a huge headline and a tweet and say, Trump declares war on math, says 2 + 2 is 4. And then people will not even look at it and say, well, he's right. They'll say, oh my God, because they set the tone. They set this nasty tone. When I said send these people to Guantanamo Bay, well, we're paying for Guantanamo Bay. It's isolated. We're trying to save our country from the virus.
Aren't there terrorists in Guantanamo Bay?
Yes, and now they can get COVID.
Oh, okay.
So Obama didn't know what, I'll close down COVID. I'll close down Guantanamo Bay very quickly. Well, looks like everybody's dead. I guess we can close Guantanamo. 19 terrorists and 800 fat white people from a cruise ship. Bye-bye. But no, they said, sir, you can't do that. And it would have been like a reverse Scarface, basically. Remember Scarface? They send all the Cubans to Florida to have sex with Michelle Pfeiffer and do drugs and use chainsaws. I was just going to do the reverse. I was going to give a bunch of cruise ship people chainsaws and drugs and say, go have fun. We create almost a reality show. We could have. Can you imagine if we had created Guantanamo COVID? Covanamo? And all of a sudden you have these tough terrorists going head to head against sick Americans. And I think it would have been, in fact, I think we need to make this show happen. I'll talk to my great friend Dana White. Maybe he'll let me use Fight Island to sort of do a sort of and then as far as Jared Kushner, I've been very strong on this podcast, always saying at any opportunity I have to make him look weak in front of Ivanka so calling him stupid for wanting to test. You should have seen Ivanka. One of her nipples got soft when I said that in the room, when I said Jared's an idiot. The one closer to the air conditioning stayed hard, so we like that. But the other one got soft, and that's how she shows that she's sad.
She never sticks up for her husband to you?
Well, no, the one nipple stayed stuck up, and I think that was her sort of trying to stick up for her husband. But she, the right nipple knew that he was so weak.
That's understandable. Now, you would call the show Covanamo Bay or Covanamo Island?
Corona. Is there a way we can combine like Corona and Guantanamo? Guantanamo Bay?
Guantanamo Bay.
Or how about Quarantanamo? Like quarantine. Guantanamo Bay.
That's a good one.
Guantanamo Bay. There it is.
It'd be like from the great minds that brought you The Apprentice. Here is Guantanamo Bay, and you
excuse me. It's called Guantanamo
Bay. You'd have these COVID-infected fat white people with chainsaws running around just chasing terrorists.
Right. And then the terrorists would use their monkey bar training to kill some of the people. But then in the season finale, you're like, oh, the terrorists won. But then the terrorists start coughing and you go, or did they?
Okay. I'm excited for this show, Mr. President.
And then
Hopefully.
in season two, we find other groups of people. We send the squad, we arrest the squad and send them down there to deal with MS-13. So you've got like different. Each season is like a new rivalry. It's AOC's D cups versus Manuel's machete.
I get it. So each season would be a different theme of trying to fight something. It would be COVID and terrorism, and then it would be gang warfare and
Radical left breasts.
yeah, I was going to say extreme radical left.
You could see like all of a sudden Nancy Pelosi comes in and saves AOC by smothering Manuel with her big granny breasts.
I think it's a great idea.
I'm only harping on that because I remember we got a fan letter from a woman who said, my husband listens to this podcast all the time. And I thought it was very not classy the way you kept talking about, quote, AOCs DS. So in honor of that angry, nasty woman who was the wife of a strong Patriot fan, we're talking about AOCs DS again.
Yeah, we've had a couple of silly, angry emails to me picking on Rudley during live Q&As, which I don't think she knows this is a podcast, but don't tell her.
The hardest are possible. And by the way, as a reminder, not that you need a reminder, but we should tell the people. It's Friday, right?
This Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we will be doing a live episode. Mike Lindell will be hosting for you. I don't know if you're going to be here also, but Mike Lindell will be here.
I may stop in, but he's going to be presiding over he's going to be judging the impeachment of Rudley with the hardest R possible.
That's right. And that's this Friday, June 25th, the day before my birthday, June 25th at 8 p.m.
Whoa,
Eastern.
It's the Tech Stuff's birthday?
Tech Stuff birthday, yes, on Saturday.
Oh wow! Well, I hope they send you for Friday's show. They send so many different Tech Stuff people, but so don't you don't make it one of these weak first. Oh, I'm putting in $5. Good, I doubled it. Live a little. You're on a great, strong gambling site. Get the biggest possible bonus you can.
Exactly. Ball out on that. Now, Mr. President, I wanted to ask you about this. DeSantis. Is that how you pronounce his name?
No, I wouldn't support him if he had a Latino name. Ron DeSantis.
DeSantis, that's what I thought. And he right now is talking about possibly running for president in 2024.
Let me tell you something right now. Ron DeSantis was very supportive of me. I think he's done probably the greatest job of any governor in the country, because Florida, as you know, has a lot of immigrants, a lot of visitors, a lot of tourism, and they have been so strong. He didn't shut his state down like a coward. He's also a very smart guy. He's a Yale guy. He's a talented sort of blue chip. This is a great future for the party. This is somebody who has a great future for a great Republican Trump party.
Well, there was recently a poll, and you versus DeSantis, and DeSantis was ahead of you.
I will murder his family. He's a worthless piece of shit. He's one of the dumbest people we have.
You just were giving him props.
And have you seen him? He's like a short, fat guy. If I wanted a short, fat guy, I'd let Chris Christie get the nomination. No, Ron DeSantis is a disloyal scumbag. And a lot of things wrong in Florida right now. Many things that they're not reporting on. But, he benefited very strongly when I was in office. And now that I'm not in office, he really is practically turning the state into a Spanish-speaking piece of shit.
How would you roast him? You usually roast every person you are against. What, something about his looks, his wife, what would you make fun of?
You mean besides calling him short and fat?
Yes, besides that. Is there anything that he's done?
You almost lost your election to a a bisexual black in
Okay.
2018, which obviously Mike Pence was excited about, but nobody else was. And no, he's a stupid, disloyal piece of trash. I don't know if the guy even played baseball at Yale. I mean, he claims to have played college baseball, but I think the guy is low IQ, low energy, and turning Florida into a steaming piece of shit. And the sooner we're done with DeSantis, the better.
Well,
And
so
those polls were probably put out by him. They're full of lies, fake polls.
I wanted to ask you, since we're talking about,
The women of OAN did a poll, and
yes,
I won 100% of the support of women who want to have sex with me to get into my next administration. 100%.
congratulations.
100%. Okay, all 6 of them, twice with Chanel Rion. Okay, and very strong. They didn't even know who Ron DeSantis was because that's a very smart, high IQ television station, OAN, filmed in the basement of some San Diego community college, I think.
Well, I wanted to ask you about we are looking for a new mayor of New York. Someone who ran against you or tried to run against you, Andrew Yang. He is in the running for mayor of New York. Um, please tell me who you think is the best candidate. If they don't have a candidate that would fit New York, just give me a rundown on what your opinion is on the political climate for mayor of New York right now.
Oh, it's a disgrace. There's not a talented person in the group. Though I would say Eric Adams, he's a former police guy. He's African American, so not racist. He's sort of the least radical of the group. But what I was really enjoying was that Yang, who sucks, by the way, Yang is beyond a zero, okay? And we agree very strongly with Stop Asian Hate, but I have a phrase called Stop Asian Hate. Except for Andrew Yang, feel free to hate on him and do worse to him because he's a piece of shit. That's I'm making T-shirts of that phrase, but we agree with Stop Asian Hate, other than Andrew Yang, very strongly, probably stronger than you. But there's a Maya Wiley, who's a very radical left sort of civil rights person who worked for de Blasio, so she's a loser. The sanitation, the trash lady, her name's, I think, Garcia, but I don't think she's a Garcia. I think she married they said Jerry Garcia. And I was like, well, I'll be grateful when she's dead. So I'm not supporting her. I don't think it was that Jerry Garcia, but that was a little radical left music joke for you tech stuff. And but I do like the fact that Yang and Garcia are doing a double team on Eric Adams, because that's what we've been trying to do in the Republican Party forever, is get the Asians and the Latinos to attack the blacks. So I'm actually I get kind of aroused when I see that Yang and Garcia formed a coalition to attack Eric Adams. We call him Blackums for short, because he's black and his name's Adams.
I wanted to ask you about one of the Republican
Which was also, by the way, the name of Fred Trump's personal butler. We called him Blackums. Walked around in a tuxedo, catering to the great Fred Trump's needs.
Oh gosh!
Like instead of Smithers or some name like that, it was like,
I understand.
We'd ring a bell and say, "Come here, Blackums," and he would say, "My name is, my name is David," and we'd go, "Shut up, Blackums."
Gosh.
Well, that's why the great Fred Trump had the greater Donald Trump, and why I did what I did.
There's a couple of Republican candidates. Fred Mateo. What do you think of him? Do you know who he is?
He's like kind of a tough Latin guy.
Yeah.
It's tough because I know that Rudy Giuliani's, mentally handicapped son is running for governor, and I want to show great support for my lawyers. He calls him his mistake. It's kind of a nice, touching nickname. But he's a big, brash, redheaded stepchild. And, I want to show loyalty because Rudy was such a strong, loyal attorney for me. So I would support, Anthony Giuliani.
I think that's his name. I just remember when we were little, and like he would just be a wreck at these press conferences, running all over the place.
Oh, no, he had ADD. We called it Andrew Deficiency Dickhead Syndrome. Because he just and now he wants to be mayor. I mean, that's where we're at in New York. I feel bad. Even the Republicans can't attract talent. They got Doofus, Giuliani, and Blackums.
No, I wanted to ask you, who do you think's going to win?
I think Blackums is going to win.
Is that how you will refer to him when you become president again? Is that how you're going to refer to him?
If he treats me with, if he treats me with respect, I'll call him Mayor Blackums. But no, we'll see. I think he has the strongest chance, and he seems like the least radical of the choices. So, but look, I mean, you see what a hellhole New York has become. Terrible Democrats and sort of weak Republicans too. I feel like I should run for mayor of New York. How about that?
That would be interesting. I wanted to ask you about a man, and I want to know if you had any relationship with him, interactions with him. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Rhode Island.
Yes, Sheldon Whitehouse. He has the kind of name where when somebody said, "Oh, this is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse," I said, "Oh, you sound like, a distinguished alum of Idaho Militia Christian." It's a very powerful sort of old money Republican type name. And it turns out he's a disgraceful radical left sort of showboat artist.
Okay. Now, he is very progressive. He is critical of systematic racism. Allegedly, he belongs to a beach club that has a rule of only white people are allowed to be part of this beach club. Okay. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, well, we were just critiquing him. I don't know why you're bringing up like good points about him.
You think that's positive?
Well, what's the club? I'm looking to possibly invest in Rhode Island real estate. Do you know the name of the club?
I don't know it offhand.
I mean, what do they expect? The guy's name is Whitehouse, and his name is Sheldon Whitehouse. I don't think they'd let him join a mixed race club. That name is very white. That's why I was so angry at him when I found out he was like radical left. I thought, with a name like Sheldon Whitehouse, you should have at least one butler named Blackums and possibly two.
How would you distinguish the two if you have two butlers with the same name?
Okay. Do I have to say it? They could have different names. You're still not going to be able to tell them apart.
Okay, so you just scream Blackums and hopefully just one of them comes to you?
Well, no, they will both come, or else they know that they'll get fired.
Well, I find it very surprising that this man who allegedly, stands for being so progressive and critical of systematic racism, if you belong to a club, wouldn't you look into, and every year you go there, you only see white people there? Wouldn't you look into it?
No, your exact tech stuff. You actually bring up a good point. Every club I've ever joined, I have specifically asked, is this a whites only club? And there's a right answer and a wrong answer.
So you actually check so Mar-a-Lago.
Well, you were just saying you have to check. I'm saying right. That I always check.
So is Mar-a-Lago strictly whites only?
No, in fact, because Jews and blacks also have green.
So it's a money only club, Mar-a-Lago. race and ethnicity doesn't matter as long as you have money.
Exactly. Although, if you get to the 2% quota, then maybe we, postpone your membership.
Right. I wanted to ask you about two more things, Mr. President, two more things in the news. But before we get to that, I just want to remind everyone that, yes, join the Patreon, patreon.com/MPGA. We have another live episode this Friday night. This is only for the Perfect 10.
The June content was elite.
Yes.
It was elite level bonus material. So continue.
And it's only going to get better. We have another live episode for the Perfect Tens. This will only be going out to the Perfect Tens. The last one went out to everyone, and the Perfect Tens were allowed to sit in on it for the birthday party show. But this one will be hosted by Mike Lindell, and it will be on Friday, June 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I will be sending out the invites the day before. So check it out. Mike Lindell hosting most of the night with the president coming in here and there. We are going to be looking at the impeachment of Rudley with the hardest R possible. And we are going to see who will be the next Patreon president, or will it be Rudley with the hardest R possible?
And
I don't know.
To be clear, the three people who have to prepare their case are Rudley, Tom, of course, the great Tom Fitzgerald, who, yes, I just gave him the title, the Great.
Oh, my goodness.
So Rudley's, Rudley.
Step behind.
He's got to step up. Although President is a good title too. And then obviously there's, I believe it's Otto. Is it Otto the dog?
Yes.
Okay, so we've had an African-American president, and I think, it's like they say when the gays get married, it's like, why not let the dogs get married? Well, you know what? We've had an African-American Patreon president, so we might as well have a canine president since it's all gone to hell.
I think that's a great idea.
And I say that with respect and no racism.
Of course. And to get in on the action, join the Patreon, patreon.com/MPGA. For Friday night, it is the Perfect 10 level, and that will be 8 p.m. Eastern time on June 25th, Friday night.
And if you can't afford the Perfect 10, because the Sleepy Joe economy is destroying your finances, you have an archive of like dozens and dozens of episodes at every level. So if you can't get to the maximum level, if you join at the $5 level right now and get us closer to getting the Idaho Militia Christian t-shirts, you're still going to get like 30 pieces of bonus content. If you go Ivanka, you're going to get that plus all the movie reviews that I've done. And
like
so
2 years of bonus.
Exactly.
Yeah. So check that out, patreon.com/MPGA. Now, Mr. President, I want to talk to you about two things. First, we're going to talk about the Catholic bishops, and the American Catholic bishops will not give communion to Biden because he is pro-choice. What is your opinion on that?
Catholics love me. As you know, I did very strongly with the Catholics. And I am also, as you know, a very powerful pro-life president. So that's their faith. I'm a different branch of Jesus person. But the Catholics are very tough with pro-life, and I respect that. And if Sleepy Joe wants to walk around sniffing girls' hairs and ripping babies out of their pussies, then I don't think he should be getting the wheat thins at church.
You're referring to the body of Christ as wheat thins?
Or Triscuits, if you're not at if you're at a poor church, could be a Triscuit, could be a Cheez-It.
Okay.
Saltines.
I think that's a little extreme.
Ritz.
Have the Catholic bishops ever done this?
Club crackers from Keebler.
Did they give communion to Obama?
Lorna Doones, maybe. Kind of like a little sweet.
Maybe a wafer. Anyway.
You ever what are they called? Necco wafers?
Which one of those?
Those are those nasty little discs. Believe me,
Uh,
I loved handing those out on Halloween. You want some N-word wafers?
Now, was Obama giving communion by the bishops?
Obama is not Catholic. He's Muslim.
Uh, True. So he didn't have to worry about that. Were there any other presidents who were denied communion by the bishops?
Kennedy, who had a very overrated wife, was the only other Catholic president.
What was Clinton?
A man whore,
No, his
which I
religion was
respect.
man or
I think he was, one of those ones like Methodist or Lutheran or, Mesopotamian or Scientology. One of the other ones.
the last piece
But
of
can you imagine Sleepy Joe actually thinking he's going to get combustion, like he's going to go to church and get, the calliope, what they hand out. He's he's literally sniffing girls' hairs and ripping beautiful Christian children out of the womb with his bare hands. It's like the movie Alien. It's like he's like the alien from Aliens. He's just walking around going, "Come on, Jack," and then he's just ripping
I don't know if it's
stomachs
that
open. No,
extreme.
no, no. Excuse me. I saw it on OAN. They did a special, and the graphic was like Sleepy Joe bursting out of a stomach, like in the movie Alien, which is based on a true story, by the way. They won't tell you that. But Sleepy Joe, that's what he does. That's what Sleepy Joe does.
The last piece of news I wanted to ask you about. This is it's groundbreaking in the NFL. There have been rumors throughout the NFL, and odds are there are many gay athletes in the NFL, NBA, MLB. It just odds are there has to be. Many are closeted. There have been athletes who have came out um, after they finished playing. Um, but Carl Nassib, who is a defensive end for the Raiders, he does play, and he just came out as being the first active NFL gay football player. What are your thoughts on this? You think it's
Where,
good or you think it's bad?
well, where do the Raiders play?
In Las Vegas.
Well, what goes on in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas. So I'm going to ask the Supreme Court to ban him from the NFL for violating Vegas constitutional law.
Because whatever he's leaving Vegas. He's taking it out of Vegas, you're saying?
If he's getting taken to Pound Town in Las Vegas, that's okay. But now by sharing it, he's violating Vegas law.
I think that's like a saying. I don't think that's really like Vegas law. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Like it's
So
just
you
just
think
a saying.
you think the Constitution is just? I'm getting upset when you disrespect Vegas law like that. You think the Constitution is just a bunch of sayings?
But whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is not in the Constitution
No,
unless you put it in there.
those are the last words of the Las Vegas Constitution.
I didn't know Vegas had a constitution.
No, my great friend, the late great Dennis Hoff,
Mm-hmm.
amended the state constitution. He was there with a bunch of teenage runaways that he was employing, and they amended the constitution.
I did not know that. I think it's very positive for the NFL, and I think it's positive for young people out there. I'm sure there are athletes who are gay and in high school, and they're intimidated because they're gay and they don't want to play for the football team. And maybe there can be the next Pro Bowler out there, and they decide not to play. So I think this is great for the youth, where there'll be more players coming out, and I think more people might play football now if they're gay, if they were scared to play before because of the stereotypes. So I think this is only positive for
Oh
the
no,
sport of football in our country.
that's what we need. We need gays with brain damage. That's great. We already have one, and we have the vice president. He's already one. So if you want more Mike Pence's, I guess you support this. No, I think it's nobody supports the LGBTQ Pence community stronger than I do. Nobody.
Of course.
No, I mean that. Nobody. Hillary Clinton was throwing gays off of rooftops in Saudi Arabia when I was defending them. But I think that I think the NFL is in a tough spot right now. You know, you've got Kaepernick kneeling, and now you're going to have this guy kneeling, and I think it's a lot of kneeling in the NFL. It's going to be called the Kneeling Football League, even though kneeling is spelled with a K. I would prefer if it was with 3 Ks, but the Kneeling Football League. That's what we are now. That's what's happened to our country. So I respect this person for announcing that he's
Gay.
The person who does the, he's
homosexual, gay.
He's a Pence type, and it's okay. But, now you're going to have to probably look at the videotape. Like, all of a sudden, does he get a sack on the very handsome Tom Brady or Jimmy Garoppolo? And does he, maybe
lay on top of him for a few extra seconds?
And all of a sudden you're saying, that's are we going to have to get new penalties, perhaps, instead of roughing the quarterback, is raping the quarterback going to be a 30-yard penalty? And like an extra roughing the passer. So I'm at the left, they'll say, "Oh, this is." I'm just asking. Excuse me, I'm just asking the questions.
I understand.
Okay? We don't believe in cancel culture, so I hope he has a successful career. But if Jimmy Garoppolo all of a sudden, come on, when you go to San Francisco, what are the fans going to be like in San Francisco when this guy shows up from Vegas? All of a sudden, it's going to be it's going to be like a, pride parade at a football game, which is okay, but I'm just questioning it.
Well, I think it's positive, and we'll see how everyone else reacts in the NFL and other sports. If this encourages basketball players and baseball players and hockey players to come out also, we'll just have to find out. But I think it's positive.
No, I think it's going to be very positive. I think you're going to hear so much nice talk from the NFL players. I think you're going to hear so much support, great support from NFL players. It's very inspiring, I'm sure.
Well, Mr. President, always appreciate you spending your weekly podcasts with us and sharing your time. I know you're a very busy man. Again, everyone listening out there, we appreciate you. Patreon.com/MPGA. We have a live episode this Friday night, the 25th of June at 8 p.m. Eastern time with Mike Lindell hosting it. Since my wife had the baby, I am back in comedy clubs. Yay, finally. I will be this Thursday, June 24th. If you live in the city, Eastville Comedy Club, 8 p.m. It's in Brooklyn, actually. It's a fundraiser for the New Fashion Initiative. I think Jordan Carlos is hosting that one. Lots of great comics on it, so check it out. It's my first show in a comedy club in too long, since March 15th, 2020. So I'm looking forward to that. Very excited, and hopefully some failed comedian and I can hit the road together in the fall. Mr. President, that's all I have. Again, patreon.com/MPGA, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tech Stuff, and hopefully we have you back for another episode. Hey, everybody, it's JL. How are you? Just another reminder. Boston, July 26th. New York, October 23rd. 2 shows already. I saw some people did buy tickets to that, so thank you. And got word from Philadelphia. I could be headed there soon. So things are starting to slowly trickle in. The wave of disrespect is just becoming just a stream of disrespect now. Just keep checking the website. New episode of Righteous PK Podcast is up already. Thanks for listening. Go see Jay if you're nearby, and God help us all.